Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 264 to 265 based on novel. So let's start. The phantom chased closely after Wang Lin. Its cold and ruthless eyes were locked onto Wang Lin as it charged upwards. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he raised his right hand and pointed downwards. The 5 black flame dragons suddenly let out roars and charged down into the deep pit. At this moment, it looked like the erupting volcano had suddenly reversed. The flames that erupted out were all surging back in. Dense heat waves charged down. The 5 black flame dragons charged into the pit in the blink of an eye. They rushed at the phantom and attempted to devour it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound echoed, and the entire cave and the earth shook violently. The 5 black flame dragons were like 5 bolts of black thunder. They exploded when they came in contact with the phantom, causing this unimaginable explosion. The thunderous rumble fused with its own echoes become the only sound that could be heard as it spread. Large amounts of rocks fell off the walls of the pit, making it seem as if the pit itself was collapsing. Flashes of flames and angry roars came from the pit. Wang Lin didn't examine the result of the fight. He raised his hand and used Summon the Rain. Raindrops suddenly appeared. The countless rain crystals floating around Wang Lin looked very beautiful. The drops of rain filled the entire cave and seemed to be everywhere. It made the entire cave feel really damp. They were also able to absorb traces of origin energy, causing each raindrop to become incredibly powerful. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. After the black flame dragons had charged down into the pit, Wang Lin's hand formed a seal and he pointed down. All the raindrops began crashing down like meteors toward the collapsing pit. Rumble, 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 rumble. The violent rumbles reached a peak when Summon the Rain fell down into the pit. Each raindrop contained Wang Lin's origin energy, so they were extremely hot. When each drop landed on the rocks would turn red and then be burned to ashes. Most of the rocks that fell off the pit were pierced by the raindrops. As a result, there were sizzling sounds and large amounts of gas. This seems like a lot, but it wasn't enough to show Wang Lin's current peak Nirvana Scryer cultivation. When he was at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scryer, his spells already contained a certain amount of power. Now that he had reached the peak of the Nirvana Scryer stage, he was able to reveal some of the true strength of the spells that Bai Fan loved to use. After he used Summon the Rain, the countless raindrops fell, causing the collapse of the pit to reach a limit. The endless rumbles continued as countless rocks fell in an attempt to fill in the pit. Along with Call the Wind, these 2 spells from Bai Fan went through a change. Wang Lin didn't have time to observe this change. After using Summon the Rain, he immediately charged toward the restriction in the palace. Earlier, Wang Lin had memorized the map. Not only did the map have details of the path to take, even the restrictions were marked. At this moment, there was a bamboo forest before Wang Lin. The bamboo forest looked very beautiful, but Wang Lin knew that there were tens of thousands of restrictions inside. If one of these restrictions were triggered, the rest would immediately activate and destroy anyone that entered. Wang Lin moved like lightning and charged into the bamboo forest. Just as he entered, there was a loud bang behind him. Shortly after, an angry roar echoed. The phantom had broken through everything Wang Lin had thrown at it and charged out from the deep pit. This phantom was still translucent, but a majority of the red lines around it had been broken. It looked like it was in a sorry state. It seemed Wang Lin's attack earlier had done a number on it. After charging out from the deep pit, it immediately saw Wang Lin closing in on the bamboo forest. Killing intent filled his eyes and it let out a roar at Wang Lin. Roar. The roar shook the world, and some of the surrounding restrictions were triggered by this roar. However, before their full power could be displayed, they all shattered one by one. Even the ground began to crack like crazy, and a gust of wind charged into the high heavens. Twisted ripples appeared before this phantom along with the roar. It stepped into the ripples and then charged at Wang Lin like crazy. Even until now, Wang Lin didn't know what it was. Although it was human-shaped, it had a strange appearance, especially its eyes. If you looked at its eyes, you wouldn't think it was a person. Although Wang Lin was escaping, He had never lost track of this phantom with his divine sense. Wang Lin still hadn't seen this phantom use a spell. Even when it fired the red lines from its body, it was more of an instinctual move. The more he observed, the stranger he found it. What made him really worry was the fact this thing was living inside the head of the ancient god. Did it exist before the ancient god died, or did it enter after the ancient god died? If it entered after the ancient god died, then it won't be much of an issue. But if it was there before, then was it related to the death of the 8-star ancient god? Could the death of the 8-star ancient god not be related to the ethereal heavens Tao like I thought? Wang Lin knew that his speculation before was a bit absurd, so much so that even he wasn't sure. After seeing this humanoid phantom, he was even less sure of his previous speculation. What exactly happened back then? Who killed this 8-star ancient god and cut off the head? Why did the Celestials obtain this head? What made Wang Lin doubt himself even more was if the Celestials had the head, why didn't they notice the iron sword? Also, why didn't they take the iron sword? Many questions filled Wang Lin's head, but he had no time to think about it. The roar of the phantom was closing in. Wang Lin turned around and stared at the phantom that was rapidly closing in before he stepped into the bamboo forest. All of this was planned by Wang Lin. Even this bamboo forest was something Wang Lin had checked before in the map. The moment Wang Lin entered the bamboo forest, he suddenly disappeared. The humanoid phantom's roar echoed and charged at the bamboo forest. However, it suddenly stopped outside the bamboo forest. It coldly stared at the bamboo forest and revealed a hint of caution. However, a moment later, the caution disappeared and was replaced with anxiety. It let out a few roars as it circled the bamboo forest. The red lines around it began to curve, then it stopped hesitating and charged into the bamboo forest. With a flash, that humanoid phantom disappeared. The moment it reappeared, there was a flash of light behind the bamboo forest, and Wang Lin stepped out. He carefully looked at where the humanoid phantom disappeared and then at the bamboo forest before he cautiously took a step to the side. With one step, his vision suddenly blurred. When he regained his vision, he had already exited this bamboo forest. Although it was difficult for Wang Lin to break the restrictions here with his current understanding of restrictions, he could enter some of the restrictions without activating them. This was all thanks to the information from the map. For example, the bamboo forest was like this. Although this bamboo forest is strong, that humanoid phantom is even stronger. This restriction probably won't be able to trap it for long. It is best I leave as soon as possible and enter the depths of this cave. Wang Lin looked ahead at the many pavilions before him. A dark fog shrouded the area. From afar, one could see the corner of a palace from within the dark fog. That was the center of this entire cave, but Wang Lin knew that it was only the entrance to the second floor. Before he saw the map, Wang Lin was somewhat confused by this cave and didn't know where to go. However, now, aside from the last few floors, he knew the structure of the entire cave. There was a total of 9 floors, and each floor had completely different architecture. The restrictions got stronger with each floor as well. The restrictions on the first floor were already not weak, but as one went deeper, the strength of the restrictions would reach a terrifying level. This is the real Celestial Emperor Cave. Originally, when you entered from the outside, you would be transferred here. However, the transfer earlier was interrupted by the scattered devil with the bottle, so everyone was transferred into the bottle world. After we left, he summoned the celestial burial pool and caused it collapse to scatter everyone once more. His purpose was to make us get lost within the Celestial Emperor Cave. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Although he had a map, it wasn't complete. It only contained the map for the first 7 floors. The last 2 floors seemed to have been wiped out of the jade by someone. Wang Lin had noticed this when he first obtained the jade, and after comparing it to the Celestial Emperor Cave, he was even more certain. While pondering, Wang Lin raised his foot and walked forward. After the bamboo forest, there was a small paved road. It was paved with large pieces of celestial jade and gave off a gentle glow. Standing on the road, Wang Lin carefully looked at the black fog before him before he charged straight ahead. There were countless flowers planted on the sides of the path. There were many different types of flowers, and they looked very beautiful. However, They were filled with restrictions, and one touch could activate them. They either attacked, trapped, or transported you to another place. If one didn't know any of this, they would find it hard to move an inch in the Celestial Emperor Cave. Even the celestial jades on this road were filled with restrictions. If one's feet didn't land in the proper order, depending on the direction they were walking, the restrictions would activate. However, none of these were too dangerous to Wang Lin. Although the map didn't contain the method to breaking them, it did have detailed explanations about them. If others obtained this information, it might not be useful. However, Wang Lin was a restriction grandmaster, so with this information, he would be able to find the solution at a glance. This saved a lot of work. However, with Wang Lin's personality, he didn't completely trust the map in the jade. Although he moved very quickly, he constantly checked if the information from the map was accurate. While he moved, he slapped his bag of holding and the iron sword he had just stolen from the phantom appeared in his hand. His divine sense spread out across the sword. Although it looked normal, Wang Lin's divine sense encountered a powerful resistance. It was as if there was power hidden inside that prevented any divine sense from penetrating it. In particular, the resistance from the rust marks was the strongest. After withdrawing his divine sense, Wang Lin pondered. What kind of sword is this? Staring at the rust marks, Wang Lin remembered the expression Tuo Sen's messenger had when he saw the same iron sword. He looked as if he had found a heavenly treasure, but what Tuo Sen's messenger was looking at was not the iron sword itself. He was looking at the rust marks on the sword. Wang Lin's gaze remained on the rust as lifted his left hand and gently wiped the rust marks. He raised his left hand and found some red rust stains on his hand. He placed it next to his nose and immediately smelled a faint fishy smell. It is only ordinary rust. Wang Lin frowned and lowered his left hand. However, just as his hand moved, there was a tearing sound and a crack appeared where his left hand passed. What shocked Wang Lin even more was that just as his left hand moved, the sea of flowers near him was suddenly covered in a red glow. Then all the flowers withered and the restrictions on them silently collapsed. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly as he stared at the sea of flowers that seemed to have turned to ruins. Then he looked at the rust on his left hand. After retreating a few steps, Wang Lin's left hand with rust on it pointed at another sea of flowers. That sea of flowers immediately withered and turned into useless soil. The rust on Wang Lin's finger disappeared. Wang Lin took a deep breath and stared at the rust on the iron sword. He was completely shocked. After pondering for a bit, he clenched his teeth and the third eye between his eyebrows opened. When the third eye opened, red light came out from inside it and enveloped the iron sword. Source origin energy came out and landed on the rust marks. Under this gaze, Wang Lin immediately saw the iron sword gradually turn transparent, but the rust marks didn't change at all and remained normal. There was an invisible energy moving within the iron sword and cycling through it. The moment it came in contact with the source origin in Wang Lin's third eye, it charged out as if it wanted to devour the source origin. Wang Lin decisively cut off the spell and withdrew the source origin. The third eye closed as well. The invisible energy paused for a moment before slowly retreating back and continuing to flow within the iron sword. Filled with confusion, Wang Lin was completely baffled. He let out a sigh and was about to put it away when a thought flashed through his mind. He looked at the iron sword, and after looking at its size, his expression became strange. He slapped his bag of holding and 5 rays of golden light flew out. 5 sword sheaths appeared before Wang Lin. He had obtained them back in planet Suzaku, and their effectiveness was unknown. He only knew that if he stuck a flying sword into one of them, the sword's power would become more fierce. After taking out the 5 sword sheaths, Wang Lin's right hand reached out and the iron sword went into one of the sword sheaths. The sword fit the sword sheath perfectly without an inch of extra space. However, after it entered the sword sheath, there was no change. Wang Lin took the iron sword out and tried it with the other sword sheath. When he stuck it into the third sword sheath, the runes carved on the sword sheath emitted a harsh light. A terrifying aura came from the iron sword and sword sheath. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with joy as he grabbed the sword sheath, took a deep breath, and slowly pulled out the iron sword. The moment the iron sword was partially pulled out from the sword sheath, the terrifying aura became even stronger, as if some unimaginable power was sealed inside. If the iron sword was pulled out completely, a terrifying force would appear. Wang Lin felt a similar power from a treasure that belonged to someone else before. The owner of the treasure was dead. It was esteemed Shen Bao. His magic treasure was the Pseudo-Nirvana Void Arrow. Pseudo-Nirvana Void. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. He didn't pull the sword out. Instead, he put it back in with a trace of excitement. Then he quickly moved forward. He moved like a ray of light and charged forward along the small path. In an instant, he arrived next to a pavilion. This pavilion wasn't big, it only had 2 floors. It looked very normal, but according to the map, this was the first restriction eye of the first floor. Only by opening all 8 eyes would one have a chance to step into the black fog. After carefully looking at the pavilion, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he noticed that the restrictions in the pavilion was already broken by someone else. From the look of this restriction, it wasn't broken long ago. Wang Lin became very cautious. It was obvious he wasn't the only one who understood the restrictions here. When the celestial burial pool collapsed, everyone was scattered. There must be people who broke the restriction earlier than me, I just don't know who it was. Wang Lin looked around. This first floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave was not big and could easily be covered by one's divine sense. However, unless they were crazy, no one would dare to spread out their divine sense in a place with so many restrictions. Even the All-Seer would have a lot of worries, and unless he was forced into a corner, he wouldn't do it. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin moved around the pavilion and stepped into the grass. His eyes flashed with lights of deduction. He didn't stop and continued to charge forward. The map had explanations of the restrictions on this grass. Wang Lin moved through the grass but didn't activate any of the restrictions. He crossed the grass in the blink of an eye. In the northeast corner of the first floor, the man in black with the hidden dragon mark was staring at the pavilion with a cold gaze. Before him, on the other side of the pavilion, stood another person. It was the beautiful middle-aged woman. She stared at the man in black through the pavilion, her expression extremely gloomy. "Fellow cultivator, this is a simple restriction. Why must you steal it from me?" The woman's voice was a little hoarse but very beautiful. She had been pushed into a restriction by the collapse of the celestial burial pool. Fortunately, the restriction wasn't very strong, so it didn't take long for her to break out. Then she saw the black fog, and after pondering a bit, she slowly moved forward. She didn't worry too much about the girl in pink she brought with her. With the treasure that the girl's senior sister had given her, she should be in no danger. However, there were too many restrictions in the Celestial Emperor Cave. Along the way, she faced many dangerous and finally arrived here after an arduous journey. When she saw the pavilion, she immediately noticed that it was different. Just as she was about to take a closer look, the man in black too appeared on the other side. "Since it is only an ordinary restriction, then fellow cultivator should just let me have it." There was a hint of sarcasm in the man's gaze. He took a step forward and was about to enter the pavilion. A flash of killing intent appeared in the beautiful woman's eyes and she immediately charged forward, leaving behind an afterimage. The man in black sneered as his right hand formed a seal and he pressed his hand formed. A black fog appeared. It turned into a dragon and attempted to devour the beautiful woman. The woman reached toward her head and pulled out 3 strands of hair. She threw them forward and recited a strange chant. The 3 strands of hair turned into 3 black pythons with blood-red mouths that charged at the dragon-shaped black fog. They were both powerful cultivators, so when their spells collided, a storm was set off and muffled rumbles echoed. However, none of it spread too far. It all stayed within 1,000 feet. They both had the same idea. They couldn't make too much noise and catch the attention of everyone else here. This limited the volatility of the battle, and both of them wanted to end this battle as quickly as possible. "Why don't you go to the palace surrounded by the black fog at the center instead of stealing from me here?" The beautiful woman's hand formed a seal and 5-colored light appeared from her body. It turned into 5 swords that swept forward. The man in black waved his sleeves and a flying sword shrouded in black gas appeared. It circled him once before it charged out and collided with the 5 swords, creating crisp collision sounds. "Nonsense. Why don't you go there?" Although this place is a pavilion, there is a transfer array inside. It should lead to a storage space. You know all of this, so why bother hiding it? The beautiful woman's expression was neutral, but there was a flash of coldness in her eyes. It was just as the man had said. When she arrived here, she noticed it, and that's how the current conflict occurred. As their treasures entangled with each other, the crisp sounds increased and began to spread. The beautiful woman's eyes lit up and she quickly said, "Our strength is quite even. Others will notice us before we can finish this fight, so why don't both of us go into the transfer array and split the treasure in half?" The man in black looked at the beautiful woman and nodded. The two of them didn't waste any words as they both retrieved their treasures and stepped into the pavilion together. However, just as they stepped in, they both looked toward the same direction. There a person walking out from the pavilions. This person was Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately saw the two people inside the pavilion. His eyes narrowed and he slowly stopped. After seeing Wang Lin, the man in black revealed a strange smile. It was the beautiful woman who had a strange expression. When her gaze swept past Wang Lin, she was shocked. His cultivation is even more strange. When I first saw him, although he had the power of a Nirvana cleanser cultivator, his cultivation only seemed to be at the early stage of Nirvana Scrya. Then, later on, he was still only at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scrya. However, now he has reached the peak of the Nirvana Scrya stage. Is he hiding his cultivation, or did he have a breakthrough recently? Wang Lin carefully looked at the two of them. He had obviously seen through the secret of the pavilion. In fact, the map showed that there was a transfer array to a storage space inside that pavilion. Even without the map, Wang Lin could see the transfer array inside. The beautiful woman pondered for a bit while looking at Wang Lin, then she slowly said, "Fellow cultivator Wang is here as well. How about the three of us go together and divide the treasures we get?" Just as Wang Lin was about to speak, the ground trembled and an angry roar came from the distance. He couldn't see anything when he looked into the distance. There were too many restrictions in the Celestial Emperor Cave, and those restrictions formed great obstacles, as if there were countless worlds. Even when two people were close, if they were in two different restrictions, it would be difficult to find each other. From a glance, the cave looked very calm, but that was only on the surface. If all the restrictions here were broken, one would immediately find a bamboo forest in the distance. It was shrouded in a monstrous red mist, and the ferocious roar coming from within it was heaven-shaking. Wang Lin's expression immediately changed. Although the bamboo forest in the distance looked normal at a glance, he understood that the restrictions there had been broken. The humanoid phantom had broken through faster than he expected. Without replying to the beautiful woman's words, Wang Lin changed straight toward the palace shrouded by black fog. On the way here, he had checked and found that all the restriction eyes had been broken. It seemed someone was one step ahead and had already entered the second floor. The reason he came to the pavilion was because it was the path with the least restrictions toward the palace at the center. The expression of the man in black changed when he saw Wang Lin run as if he was escaping for his life the moment the roar came. Without hesitation, he gave up on the transfer array inside the pavilion and chased after Wang Lin. Only the beautiful woman hesitated, but just as she hesitated, that angry roar came closer and closer as if it was approaching at a rapid speed. If you were able to see inside the world within each restriction and looked from above, then you would clearly see the humanoid phantom charging toward Wang Lin. It triggered countless restrictions, and there were countless flashes of light as restrictions attacked it. Some restrictions even teleported it away. However, it didn't take more than few breaths of time before it broke the restrictions and charged out. It seemed to be learning the restrictions, and it broke them faster and faster. In the end, it was charging ahead in a straight line. Wang Lin moved forward like a meteor, and along the way, he passed countless restrictions. He moved toward the black fog at the center according to the map. The man in black wasn't any slower than Wang Lin. He stared at Wang Lin's feet and moved in the exact same path closely behind Wang Lin. Behind them was the beautiful woman. She was a powerful cultivator, so she soon made a choice. Seeing Wang Lin and the man in black leaving in such haste, she clenched her teeth and quickly followed. However, although the beautiful woman understood restrictions, she wasn't as good as Wang Lin. Adding the fact that she was lagging behind, she was soon blocked by some restrictions. The angry roar from the distance came closer and closer. There were also popping sounds that were obviously from restrictions being broken. Wang Lin moved even faster and jumped into the air before a pavilion. Flashes of restriction came from the pavilion, and the light filled the area as if it wanted to stop Wang Lin from advancing. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as his body took 7 steps to the right at an unimaginable angle. After these 7 steps, his body had already sunk into the restrictions in the pavilion, and then he penetrated through them in a flash. Behind him, the man in black followed closely. The man in black stepped exactly as Wang Lin did and unexpectedly got through the restrictions as well. As for the beautiful woman, when she broke through the restrictions and got here, she could only helplessly look at Wang Lin and the man in black move far away. She could not break the restrictions before in a short period of time. Just at this moment, the angry roar echoed violently behind her and entered her ears. At the same time, the restrictions behind her trembled and all collapsed as a red shadow rushed out. The beautiful woman sucked in a breath of cold air. She had never seen this human figure before, but she felt a powerful sense of crisis shroud her body. That human figure's cold gaze was filled with anger. It let out a roar and charged straight at the beautiful woman. It lifted its right hand and was about to claw at her. However, just at this moment, a roar echoed. "You damn beast, you dare." As the roar came, a ripple appeared before the beautiful woman and spread out. The beautiful woman was pushed back and the human figure was also knocked back by the impact. A blue figure came from the distance. He looked old, but his eyes shined brightly. It was Master Void. Master Void was also shocked greatly. He had long since broken out from the restriction he was sent into from the collapse of the celestial burial pool. He had circled around the first floor for a long time and had quite a good harvest. However, when that angry roar echoed, his mind trembled. He quickly followed the roar and saw the beautiful woman in danger. He was related to the power the beautiful woman belonged to, so he couldn't just stand by and not help. After using a spell to knock the human figure away, he took the beautiful woman and charged into the restrictions in the pavilion with his powerful cultivation. The restrictions flashed violently above the pavilion, but as Master Void crashed through, they immediately collapsed. Master Void took the beautiful woman and charged ahead. The human figure looked at Master Void, then it let out a roar and chased after him. Along the way, Wang Lin quickly rushed through several restrictions without touching any of them. Soon, he closed in on the black fog in the center of the floor. This black fog was very strange. It was filled with devilish energy. However, with the roar closing in behind him, Wang Lin didn't have time to think before he stepped into the black fog. The man in black's pupils shrank, but he also entered without hesitation after Wang Lin. The man in black followed Wang Lin while maintaining a certain distance and slowly said, "The devilish energy here is strong. It is best for fellow cultivator Wang to be careful. Also, can fellow cultivator Wang give me an explanation on the thing chasing us?" "That is a beast from the celestial burial pool." Wang Lin said one line as he moved like lightning within the black fog toward the palace. This palace was very large, far larger than any of the pavilions. Looking at it from the outside, it was filled pressure, and the dark fog gave off an eerie feeling. It was like a fierce beast coldly staring at the small cultivator at its feet. When standing inside the hall, if one looked up, they would see just how large the palace was. There was a gap in the gate to the palace. Although the gap was small, it was enough for 10 people to go in at once. Wang Lin moved like lightning. When he got close, he directly entered the door and stepped into the palace on the first floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. The moment Wang Lin entered the palace, he was startled for a moment. There were 2 huge statues inside the hall. Both were forming a seal and seemed to be pointing at the void with glaring eyes. The statues gave off a powerful pressure, as if the heavens might fill the hall. This sight would shock the mind of anyone who saw it. Staring at the statues, Wang Lin took a deep breath and quickly recovered. He had a similar experience with the flower imperial concubine, so although he was shocked, it wasn't too much. Wang Lin's gaze quickly swept the hall, but he didn't find the entrance to the second floor. At this moment, the man in black also entered. When he saw the 2 large statues, He was startled, and the black dragon mark between his eyebrows instantly appeared. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank as he stared at the dragon mark between the man in black's eyebrows. However, he quickly withdrew his gaze and didn't reveal anything in his expression. The man in black recovered in an instant. The moment he recovered, his expression became gloomy and he looked at Wang Lin. When he saw that Wang Lin wasn't looking toward him, he couldn't help but frown. He knew that his secret had appeared for an instant, he just wasn't sure if Wang Lin had noticed it. Just at this moment, a rumbling sound came from the hall. It was obvious the restrictions were being forced open by someone. Master Void brought the beautiful woman and entered the hall. The moment he entered, even he was startled by the two statues, but quickly he recovered. Unless you were carefully observing, it would be impossible to see that pause from Master Void. As for the beautiful woman next to him, confusion filled her eyes. However, with the help of Master Void, she quickly returned to normal. As soon as Master Void saw Wang Lin, killing intent filled his eyes. Just as he was about to step forward, the roar from outside the hall got closer. The beautiful woman's face was a bit pale. When she saw Wang Lin, she quickly said, "Wang Lin, what did you do to cause that human-shaped thing to pursue you all the way here?" After experiencing the danger from before, the beautiful woman broke down all pretense with Wang Lin. She no longer called him fellow cultivator and instead directly called his name. Wang Lin had already searched the entire hall. Although he had not found the entrance to the second floor, his eyes fell on the two statues, and he had some guesses. After hearing the beautiful woman's words, his eyes lit up and he calmly said, "How do you know it was me who attracted that human-like thing?" As Wang Lin spoke, he retreated back a few steps toward the statues as if he was afraid of the beautiful woman suddenly attacking him. The beautiful woman angrily said, "If it wasn't because of you, then why did you head straight for this place the moment you heard that roar? That human-like thing is a beast that was buried under the celestial burial pool. When I left the restriction, I encountered it. After I fought it and found I was no match, I ran. Should I have not escaped and allowed it kill me?" As Wang Lin spoke, he retreated a few more steps, and he was almost next to the statues. His hand was on his bag, but his gaze was not on the beautiful woman. Instead, it was on Master Void. Master Void's power was too much pressure on Wang Lin. Even though he had reached the peak of the Nirvana Scryer stage and had an ancient god body, he was no match for Master Void. After all, Master Void was a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. The beautiful woman let out a cold snort. She was about to speak, but Master Void interrupted as he stepped toward Wang Lin and slowly said, "Junior, I don't care if it is your fault or not, there is no need to explain. I will give you one chance. Go outside and lure away the human-like thing." Although Master Void's words sounded calm, but they contained a spell. Along with that step, a ripple spread between him and Wang Lin. However, it wasn't just one invisible ripple, countless invisible ripples had appeared. The ripples appeared very quickly. The moment they appeared, they released the power of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. They moved at an unimaginable speed toward Wang Lin's chest. Just at this instant, a flash of blue light came from Wang Lin's right eye and the azure light shield appeared before him. The ripples collided with the shield, and there was an earth-shattering explosion before him. The azure light shield wasn't able to resist at all and was pushed back into Wang Lin's chest. Crackling sounds came from Wang Lin's body as he coughed out blood and flew back like a kite with a broken string. As the azure light shield was being pushed back, a ripple entered his body. The ripple was extremely powerful, and it frantically tried to tear Wang Lin's meridians apart. This unimaginable force charged directly through Wang Lin's body in an attempt to destroy his body and origin soul. All of this happened too fast and finished in an instant. So fast that even the beautiful woman was startled and the man in black's pupils shrank. The moment Wang Lin's body was mercilessly pushed back, Master Void was surprised. Although that attack just now wasn't his full power, it could have easily killed a Nirvana Scryer cultivator. He thought that with that attack, the possible future Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor would surely die and the Vermilion Bird would die with it. However, what shocked him was that not only did Wang Lin's body not collapse, but he didn't even immediately die. That shield that suddenly appeared had cancelled out 70% of his power. However, Just the remaining 30% was enough to kill this Wang Lin, and what shocked Master Void was that this 30% portion only made Wang Lin cough out blood. Wang Lin only ended up seriously injured and not dead. Wang Lin floated in the air as the ripple raged inside his body and charged at his origin soul. Although Wang Lin's origin soul had the ancient god leather armor, the vibrations still caused his origin soul to become bleak. He coughed out another large mouthful of blood and his body was violently thrown back. The pain from his body showed that even with his ancient god body, he was seriously injured. However, Wang Lin's gaze was still calm as he stared at Master Void. When he was thrown again, he landed at the center of the gaze of the two statues in the hall. "You didn't die. Let me fix that." Killing intent appeared in Master Void's eyes. He vaguely felt like there was something wrong with the location Wang Lin was in. He lifted his right hand and mercilessly slammed down toward Wang Lin. In his mind, he would definitely kill Wang Lin with this attack. A rumble echoed within the hall when Master Void attacked Wang Lin. A yellow sandstorm appeared and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was still calm, and there was even a hint of ridicule in it. He knew that he was not Master Void's opponent. Wang Lin felt that this person had ill intent toward him back at the Celestial Burial Pool. After learning about his vermilion bird awakening, Wang Lin was 80% sure this person had the intention to kill him. Now that they were so close within the hall, Master Void would definitely reveal his killing intent. Wang Lin understood that it was futile to resist with his current strength. Fortunately, he had vaguely found the entrance to the second floor. He simply borrowed the attack to be thrown to this position. In addition, he had built a killing formation in this short period of time. The target was Master Void. If others don't mess with him, he won't mess with them. If Master Void hadn't attacked, Wang Lin wouldn't have used this killing formation. But since the other party had attacked, then Wang Lin wouldn't simply do nothing. "Even if I can't kill you, I must leave behind a deep impression." Wang Lin's hand formed the same seal as the two statues. At this moment, purple light came from the gazes of the two statues. The two rays of purple light charged out and circled Wang Lin, forming a vortex. Wang Lin's body was dragged toward the vortex. However, Master Void had cultivated for a very long time, so he naturally had strong intuition and immediately realized that there was something wrong with where Wang Lin landed, so he immediately added an attack. The sandstorm formed by his spell charged at Wang Lin inside the vortex. If Wang Lin moved according to the speed of the vortex, then the sandstorm would arrive and Wang Lin would die before he could enter. Master Void charged at Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. The moment the sandstorm closed in, his third eye opened up. Wang Lin's third eye was his strongest spell, and it was something he wouldn't dare to casually use. However, with Master Void closing in and facing this life and death crisis, he opened it without hesitation. Master Void. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes as he let out a roar. The vertical third eye opened and the red light from within opened up like a fan. The moment Wang Lin's third eye opened, Master Void's calm expression changed for the first time. It wasn't just a small change, it looked like his world had just been flipped upside down. Source origin. Master Void's eyes were filled with disbelief, but were then filled with ecstasy. At this moment, he forgot about the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect and the Cultivation Alliance. The only thing in front of him was the source origin that came out of Wang Lin's third eye. Not only his, but even the expression of the man in black changed greatly. He stared at Wang Lin with shining eyes filled with disbelief. Only the beautiful woman revealed a strange expression that didn't contain any greed. She looked at Wang Lin and frowned. The source origin filled the red light, and the red light collided with the sandstorm. The sandstorm trembled, and even though it contained the power of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator, it rapidly dissipated. Wang Lin felt pain from between his eyebrows. He originally didn't have much source origin left, and it was rapidly dissipating when facing off against the sandstorm. However, he didn't withdraw it, and instead, with eyes filled with killing intent, the source origin poured out from his third eye. Wang Lin knew in his heart how important source origin was to people who were seeking the third step, so he knew that Master Void would take the bait. Wang Lin knew in his heart how important source origin was to people who were seeking the third step, so he knew that Master Void would take the bait. The red light expanded greatly and the sandstorm immediately collapsed. The source origin shot out from the red light and went straight at Master Void. Master Void's expression changed, but the greed in his eyes became even stronger. He wanted to dodge it, but he was unwilling to give up a 1 in 10,000 chance to feel source origin personally. With this hesitation, the red light from Wang Lin's third eye surrounded Master Void. At this moment, Master Void's body seemed to be peeled away layer by layer and turned half-transparent. Source origin, source origin. Master Void's eyes were filled with greed, and his divine sense spread out and observed the source origin. He completely ignored the fact that he was in a battle right now, as Wang Lin was simply too insignificant in his eyes. He was confident he could understand this source origin, and once he did, his old heart suddenly felt like he was in the prime of his youth and his face became even more agitated. He had never dreamed that he would encounter the legendary source origin that was rumored to be the key to reaching the third step, and it happened when he was only trying to eradicate a possible future danger. Wang Lin's body slowly sank into the purple vortex, but the killing intent in his eyes increased greatly. He had already laid out the killing formation, and Master Void had entered it. Now the only thing left was for him to act. He slapped his bag of holding and a sword sheath appeared in his hand, and inside the sheath was an iron sword. Wang Lin's eyes became very cold as he held the sword's handle. Part 265. The moment Wang Lin held the iron sword, all the killing intent from his eyes completely disappeared and his eyes were as calm as water. It was as if all this killing intent he had toward Master Void was absorbed by the iron sword. However, this gaze without any killing intent was several times more terrifying than the gaze with monstrous killing intent. Wang Lin vaguely felt that the iron sword had its own spirit, and it was about to awaken at this moment. When it awakened, it was going to release a power that could destroy the world. The beautiful woman was still staring at Wang Lin. The moment Wang Lin took out the sword sheath, she frowned, still not recognizing what it was. However, the moment Wang Lin's gaze became calm, her eyes suddenly widened and filled with disbelief as a trace of her memory was jogged. There was also the man in black. His gaze also landed on the sword sheath in Wang Lin's hand, and his pupils violently shrank. Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he held the sword handle and suddenly pulled it out. When the iron sword left the sword sheath, a terrifying aura surged out. This aura was very strong. The moment it appeared, even crackling sounds came from the hall, as if it was going to collapse. Countless cracks appeared on the two statues next to Wang Lin in the blink of an eye, making it seem like they were going to shatter at any moment. In just an instant, the iron sword came out from the sword sheath completely. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to raise the iron sword and mercilessly chop down at Master Void, who was still immersed in comprehending the source origin. Master Void originally didn't consider Wang Lin a threat at all. In his eyes, Wang Lin was merely an ant. His divine sense quickly spread out around the source origin and attempted to find out the secret of creating source origin. His intuition told him that if he could find the answer, that meant he could find the right path to the third step. The more he thought about this, the more excited he became. He could even hear his own heartbeat accelerating. However, just as he was rapidly comprehending and was just about to find a clue, his body immediately went cold and the feeling of a life and death crisis was upon him. This feeling of a life and death crisis was no weaker than the collapse of the celestial burial pool. In fact, it was several times stronger than that collapse. Master Void even felt like this aura was a bit familiar. His pupils shrank as he stared at the iron sword in Wang Lin's hand. Pseudo-Nirvana Void Treasure. Although the sword didn't leave Wang Lin's hand, the illusion of a giant, 100,000-foot-long silver sword appeared between Wang Li and Master Void. This large sword was completely made of silver light and gave off a harsh glow. The moment it appeared, it mercilessly smashed down on Master Void. Master Void sucked in a breath of cold air and his eyes filled with shock. He didn't have time to dodge at all. Wang Lin's timing was very good, and that was the key of this killing formation. The silver sword was too fast, far faster than a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator could cast a spell. The silver light smashed into Master Void's chest. Just at this instant, Master Void's origin soul came out of his body at an unimaginable speed and surrounded his body. Master Void's body shined purple, and his origin soul was completely purple. An ordinary cultivator's origin soul was very fragile, so they relied on their physical body. However, when you reach a high cultivation level like Master Void, your origin soul will be far stronger than your body. Master Void surrounded his body with his origin soul to block the silver sword. The silver light flashed violently and Master Void's body trembled, and his face turned red before coughed out blood. His origin soul trembled before returning into his body. Master Void's revealed a hideous expression he had never revealed before, and popping sounds came from inside his body. He was pushed back, but he forced himself to stop, so he stayed within the source origin. This allowed the source origin to invade his body, making his injuries even worse. Little bastard, even with a pseudo-nirvana void treasure, you don't have the qualifications to kill me. Master Void's eyes narrowed as he mercilessly clawed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was pale as his origin energy had left his body and went into the iron sword like crazy. He had already checked the iron sword before and knew that he could use it without refining it. This iron sword that was very different from traditional treasures confused Wang Lin. However, to complete the killing formation, he used it without any hesitation. Wang Lin was already prepared for it to absorb his origin energy. Although a large amount of origin energy was leaving his body, he didn't panic and remained calm. The moment Master Void clawed at Wang Lin lifted the iron sword once more and took a deep breath. Origin energy surged out from his body as the sword was covered in a silver light once more and he slashed down. The silver light was bright when Master Void's right hand violently waved backward and his expression became extremely gloomy. He was a bit anxious now as being inside the source origin meant he would constantly be attacked by it even though it didn't hurt much. In comparison, this amount of source origin wasn't even 1/10,000th of his origin energy, but just this small amount of source origin required a majority of his origin energy to resist. He also had to immerse his entire mind to comprehend it while resisting it. Before, Master Void didn't consider Wang Lin a threat, but he never expected Wang Lin to have a pseudo-nirvana void treasure. As a result, he had to pay attention, but he was unwilling to give up this chance to comprehend source origin. His killing intent toward Wang Lin had reached a limit. I only need 7 more minutes and I'm confident I can understand the mystery behind this source origin. Master Void slapped his bag of holding and a purple ice cube appeared in his hand. The moment the ice cube appeared, the entire hall was enveloped in an icy chill. Feeling his heart ache, a portion of Master Void's origin soul split to form another Master Void. Then that body swallowed the purple ice cube and charged at Wang Lin like a bolt of lightning. Wang Lin waved the iron sword, and with a flash of silver light, the illusion of the giant silver sword appeared once more. The sword shot toward Master Void's origin soul avatar. The avatar formed a seal and pointed at the giant sword. There was a loud bang and the avatar was pushed back. The avatar dimmed greatly, but the illusionary sword also collapsed. The moment the purple ice cube appeared, Wang Lin felt an aura similar to that of his iron sword and esteemed Shen Bao's arrow. It was obvious that the purple ice cube was also a pseudo-nirvana void treasure. At this moment, Wang Lin had lost a large amount of origin energy in his body, but right now it wasn't the time to worry about his origin energy. The killing formation had already begun, and Wang Lin was unwilling to give it up. He had used the source origin as bait to set up this killing formation. If he couldn't kill or cause some serious injuries to Master Void, it would be considered a failure on his planning. Not only did he expose his source origin, but he even exposed his pseudo-nirvana void treasure. However, if he could seriously injure or kill Master Void, it would be enough to deter the beautiful woman and the man in black. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin decided to close his eyes. When he used this iron sword, he had a feeling that this iron sword had its own spirit. Wang Lin wasn't able to display its true power due to his cultivation level, but since this iron sword required no refining to use, there was a way to display its true strength. He only needed to treat the treasure like a person. The moment Wang Lin closed his eyes and gave up control of the iron sword let out a sword hymn. Master Void's avatar charged out once more. The purple ice cube inside the avatar emitted endless chill. Before it even got close, powerful cold energy was already closing on Wang Lin. The iron sword in Wang Lin's hand suddenly rose up, but that wasn't Wang Lin who moved, it was the iron sword who pulled Wang Lin's hand. Wang Lin's origin energy left his body like crazy, and the iron sword released heaven-shaking sword hymns as if it was happy. Just as Master Void's avatar closed in, another giant silver sword appeared. However, this silver sword was different, it looked like a real sword. It was impossible to tell it was an illusion at all. The moment it appeared, the giant silver sword immediately slashed down. With a bang, Master Void's avatar collided with the large sword and retreated a few steps. However, the large sword didn't disappear, and its silver light shined even brighter. Then it moved in an arc and attacked from the left side. The second attack connected with the first attack as if it was a mortal using sword martial arts. If that was it, it wouldn't be shocking, but as soon as the silver sword collided with Master Void's avatar a second time, it immediately moved and attacked from below. There was no pause at all. The large silver sword turned into a ray of silver light and continued to attack Master Void's avatar like a silver dragon. Strike after strike, the silver sword attacked Master Void's avatar. Its speed became faster and faster. The first strike was a bit slow, but the second strike was a bit faster. Now, in the blink of an eye, 7 strikes connected into one. All of Wang Lin's origin energy had disappeared in the 6th strike. As for the 7th strike, it absorbed his body's essence. Fortunately, his ancient god body was very strong and was able to endure it. After the 7th strike, the 8th strike struck like a silver dragon, and following that were the 9th, 10th, and 11th strike. Almost all the gazes in the hall were focused on Master Void's avatar. The continuous strike from the treasure shocked everyone's hearts greatly. All of this happened too quickly. The silver light became faster and faster, then came the 19th strike, the 22nd strike. Wang Lin's skin withered on a large scale and his eyes became dim. Not even his ancient god body could withstand this kind of absorption. After the 17th strike, each strike took several times more than the last, and 23 strikes was Wang Lin's limit. After the 23rd strike, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. Like a ray of lightning flashing across the sky, the silver light attacking Master Void's avatar suddenly stopped. The moment it stopped, the silver shined like it had never shined before and lit up the entire hall. Under the flash of the silver light, 23 large silver swords appeared next to Master Void's avatar. The moment they appeared, they all pierced through the avatar. The 23 large swords were like 23 silver meteors that fell at an unimaginable speed. A series of rumbles echoed when all 23 swords pierced through Master Void's avatar. The avatar didn't even have the chance to dodge. When the 23 large swords penetrated the avatar, the purple ice cube inside cracked and began to collapse. Along with the ice cube, Master Void's avatar was split into countless pieces when the 23 swords penetrated it. This didn't end here. The 23 large swords seemed to form a net, and they charged at Master Void. Master Void was still comprehending the source origin when his face turned pale and he coughed out blood. He was aghast at the situation. This isn't an ordinary pseudo-nirvana void treasure. He didn't expect Wang Lin to have such a powerful treasure and be so difficult to kill. Now that his origin soul avatar was destroyed, he sustained serious injuries. His scalp went numb when he saw the 23 swords that destroyed his origin soul avatar and his own pseudo-nirvana void treasure charge at him. However, he only needed a few more breaths of time to fully comprehend the mysteries of the source origin. If you wanted to make him dodge, then you might as well just kill him instead. Screw it. Master Void had cultivated for countless years and had naturally guessed that Wang Lin had used the source origin as bait and forced him into a situation where he couldn't use his full power. This forced him to place most of his effort into comprehending the source origin and thus created a killing formation that made it hard him to advance or retreat. He didn't retreat and instead slapped his bag of holding. A black tortoise shell the size of his fist appeared in his hand. It was completely black and released a powerful pressure. It was unknown where the shell was removed from. This tortoise shell was also a pseudo-nirvana void treasure. As an important member of the Cultivation Alliance, He was naturally not short on treasures. After throwing the tortoise shell, Master Void clenched his teeth and no longer paid any attention to any of this. His divine sense spread out like crazy as he comprehended the source origin. He could feel that he was only a sliver away from finding the path to the third step that he had been dreaming of for countless years. The tortoise shell flew out and floated before Master Void. It released a large amount of black light, but just when the black light started shining, the 23 large swords came crashing down on the tortoise shell. A thunderous rumble echoed, and while the tortoise shell was pushed back, it was able to resist the attack. However, this attack didn't stop. After the third sword dissipated, the fourth and fifth swords quickly followed. This went on until the 21st sword smashed down as a ray of silver light. Rumble, 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 rumble. The black tortoise shell continued to retreat, and countless cracks had appeared on it. It only lasted 3 breaths of time before it shattered into countless pieces and scattered in all directions. When it collapsed and lost the power to block, the 22nd and 23rd swords shot directly at Master Void. These last 2 large swords contained the most destructive power. In the blink of an eye, they shot toward Master Void's chest. He didn't have time to use any spell at this distance, and it was impossible for him to give up this chance to comprehend the source origin. Although this sounds slow, it all happened in an instant. At this moment of crisis, Master Void waved his hand and his clothes began to move as if they were being blown by the wind. A purple wind suddenly appeared and formed a whirlwind around him. However, the moment the whirlwind appeared, it collided with the 22nd sword. There was a loud bang and the whirlwind collapsed. The moment it collapsed, the last sword directly went through and landed on Master Void's chest. At the same time, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He was waiting for this moment, which was the final moment of this killing formation. He raised his sore left hand and rubbed the rust marks on the iron sword. Once his left hand had rust on it, he flicked his finger. When Master Void was hit by the 23rd sword, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale, his clothes were in tatters, and his chest was a bloody mess. Almost there. Master Void seemed to have gone crazy. He completely ignored his body's injuries and focused on comprehending the source origin. He had a feeling that he was very close to the path to the third step and was about to be completely enlightened. However, at this moment, the strange power from the rust entered the void when Wang Lin flicked his finger. Just as Master Void was about to comprehend the path to the third step, the rust flew by like a gentle breeze. Master Void's body trembled and a large amount of blood sprayed out from his chest. Blood came out of all his orifices, forcing him to retreat. This made him leave the red light the source origin was in, and everything he worked for was ruined. No. Master Void's eyes were red like a beast's, but his body was thrown back away from the source origin, and there was nothing he could do about it. At the same time, a large amount of blood gushed out from his body. Wang Lin's third eye flashed and the red light returned. Almost all the source origin was gone, only a sliver remained. Wang Lin held the iron sword as his cold gaze shifted toward the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman's mind trembled at the gaze. Wang Lin's spell and treasure had shocked her greatly. She unexpectedly didn't dare to meet his gaze and lowered her head. As for the man in black, when Wang Lin looked over, the man in black's eyes revealed shock and fear. He unexpectedly also didn't dare to face Wang Lin. The aura Wang Lin currently had was the strongest it had ever been in his life. Whether it was through a scheme or deception, he was able to beat a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. No one was willing to provoke someone like this. If you want my source origin, if you want my treasure, then quickly come and take them. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes and he revealed a sneer. His body gradually disappeared into the purple vortex formed by the 2 statues. Although he disappeared, the shock he left the beautiful woman, the man in black, and Master Void lingered for a long time. The fear in the man in black's eyes couldn't dissipate. Just thinking about the 23 swords Wang Lin had summoned made his heart feel a chill. Although he knew that Wang Lin had probably spent all his power summoning those 23 swords and was just putting up a front, he didn't dare to gamble. That 23 sword attack made him lose some confidence. The Vermilion Bird Divine Sect will revive once more because of this person. Not only will they return to their former glory, they will reach a new height. This person has source origin. Who gave him the source origin? The man in black trembled and the fear in his eyes became even stronger. Master Void's body landed on the ground. His face was pale and he was in a miserable state. His eyes were filled with frustration. Only a sliver more. Only sliver more, ah. Master Void clenched his fist. The pain from his body and having half of his origin soul destroyed caused his cultivation level to fall greatly. The hope he had when he was about to comprehend the source origin followed by the irreconcilable disappointment caused him to let out a roar. However, he was someone who had cultivated for countless years. After letting out a roar, he calmed down and even more intense killing intent appeared in his eyes. That child is far too cunning, he is also bold and decisive. I must not allow him to become the future vermilion bird divine emperor. In order to kill him, I'm willing to risk having my first Heaven's Blight arrive 3,000 years early to use this chance to kill him and seize the source origin. The shock in the beautiful woman's heart was no less intense than that of the man in black or Master Void. In fact, because she knew more, she was even more shocked than the other two. What shocked her beside Wang Lin's source origin was that iron sword. She had only heard of powerful treasures like this once in her life. She remembered back in the brilliant Void realm, when the elders were talking about treasures in the world, they once said this one thing. Although the treasures in the world were split into spirit, mysterious, celestial, void, and nirvana, they weren't the only 5 types. There were treasures even above those 5 ranks, but even the elder talking about it had only encountered nirvana-level treasures. There were many spirit and mysterious treasures. Most treasures used by first-step cultivators were within these 2 ranks. There were also some first-step cultivators with celestial treasures. However, for second-step cultivators, celestial treasures weren't strong enough to meet their requirements. For Nirvana Shatterer old monsters, unless the celestial treasure was of top quality, then it was often not as useful as celestial spells. At this time, these Nirvana Shatterer old monsters would search for a higher rank of treasure. Ignoring the commonly used celestial treasures of the ancient refiners, they looked for treasures that dated back to even older times. The relics from those ancient times were void treasures. Although void treasures were rare, there were still some left. Every single Nirvana Shatterer old monster would treasure a void treasure greatly. After all, the method of producing them was lost, and they couldn't be repaired. Once they were broken, they would lose a lot of their power. In truth, some pseudo-Nirvana void treasures weren't really pseudo-Nirvana void, they were merely just void treasures. They were just a bit stronger, and the pseudo-Nirvana void name was just for vanity's sake. For normal Nirvana Shatterer old monsters, void treasures were already the peak, and they would do anything for them. However, for those that stood at the top, although void treasures were still precious, they weren't lacking these kinds of treasures. In truth, none of the treasures in this world would catch their attention. What they pursued was how to transcend the second step toward the legendary third step they all dreamed of. However, this third step was too ethereal, and the path was too vague. One could only wait for the 5 Heaven's Blights to arrive one by one. In the end, they would become a grain of sand among the waves and die. For those old monsters that had lived such long lives, it was no longer a dream or hope of reaching the third step, but a desire to live. Only with the power of the third step could they endure the 5 Heaven's Blights, otherwise, what awaited them was death. At this moment, a cultivator from the system under the Wind Celestial Realm arrived in the Alliance star system. Although he hadn't reached the third step, he had passed the 4th Heaven's Blight. The 5 Heaven's Blights were things all Nirvana Shatterer cultivators had to face. Every time they passed a Heaven's Blight, their strength would increase greatly. However, they were simply too difficult, and failure meant they would immediately die. The reason this person was able to pass the 4th Heaven's Blight was precisely because he had a magic treasure. This treasure was a Nirvana treasure. After investigating, Nirvana treasures seemed to come from primordial times, but the amount that remained was extremely low. Although this was the case, those Nirvana Shatterer old monsters found records of treasures that were beyond void treasures but just second to Nirvana treasures. These were pseudo-Nirvana void treasures. Although pseudo-Nirvana void treasures weren't as rare as Nirvana treasures, only a pathetic amount still existed. Almost all of them were in the hands of peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The requirement for joining the Alliance Elder Group was to have a pseudo-Nirvana Void treasure. Aside from the fact that these treasures were extremely powerful, they also played a certain part in helping a cultivator resist the 5 Heavens Blights. Pseudo-Nirvana Void treasures were also split into different grades. They were split into low, mid, high, and top tier, like normal treasures. After all, these treasures were all left behind by ancestors. The descendants didn't even know how to make them, much less categorize them properly. It can absorb a cultivator's killing intent, form an illusion, and have such power. The treasure in Wang Lin's hand might be high-quality pseudo-Nirvana Void, or even a peak pseudo-Nirvana Void treasure. The beautiful woman gasped and dread filled her eyes. While the three of them were thinking, a roar came from outside. The man in black immediately jumped between the statues and copied Wang Lin to leave this place. Master Void and the beautiful woman also flew over. At this moment, at the second floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, there was a flash of purple light at a pavilion near the center of the second floor. Wang Lin's figure walked out from the light. A Nirvana Shatterer cultivator is unexpectedly difficult to kill. Master Void is seriously injured, but still not dead. There is also that beautiful woman, and right now, when Wang Lin appeared, he immediately coughed out a mouthful of blood and showed a rare sign of fatigue. However, this iron sword was beyond my imagination. I didn't think it would have this kind of power. If I can get all 5 iron swords for the sword sheaths and use them, Wang Lin took a deep breath and shook his head. If he were to use them at the same time, he would likely be drained dry in an instant. He put the iron sword back into the sword sheath and put it back inside his bag. Wang Lin took out some pills and devoured them. Without waiting for them to digest, he clenched his teeth and moved forward. He had put up a front and used his momentum form, seriously injuring Master Void to shock the man in black and the beautiful woman. Otherwise, if both of them attacked, Wang Lin would have without a doubt died. At this moment, he had no time to sit down and recover. He had to use his advantage of knowing the layout of the cave to create distance between him and them. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin moved through the various restrictions and soon arrived at one of the restriction eyes marked on the map. After taking a look, Wang Lin immediately confirmed his speculation that someone else had come here first and broke the restriction eyes. It was unknown what floor they had already reached. He dragged his weary body toward the palace at the center, surrounded by the black fog. The first 6 floors of the Celestial Emperor Cave were mostly structured the same. With Wang Lin's familiarity, although he was slower than usual, he still quickly arrived at the center of the second floor where the entrance to the third floor was. At this moment, the man in black, the beautiful woman, and the heavily injured Master Void also arrived at the second floor. The seriously injured Master Void was no longer as arrogant as he was in the first floor. He moved forward slowly, and this gave Wang Lin time in the palace in the second floor. There were no statues here, only 9 stone candlesticks. Wang Lin calmed his anxious heart, and after carefully observing for a long time, he frowned. However, his gaze suddenly landed on the candlesticks on the table, and he noticed faint traces of movement. There were deep and shallow traces, so they were moved more than once. It was obviously made to confuse people. His eyes lit up, and he squatted down and carefully observed them. His eyes gradually lit up. He felt a sliver of sword energy from these candles. This sword energy was very ordinary, so even if others felt it, they would think it was just residue from someone trying to break the candlesticks by force. However, to Wang Lin, the meaning was significant. Senior Ju Yi's sword energy. If he left the sword energy here, that means he is already at the third floor, so why did he leave it here? Could it be? Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He had recovered some origin energy on the way here. Now he waved his hand and the 9 candlesticks immediately lit up. The moment the candles lit up, the light from the flames surrounded Wang Lin, and he disappeared to the third floor. Moving the candlesticks was only to confuse others. Even the trace of being moved was just to distract people from the fact that the candlesticks needed to be lit. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Lin had spent 2 months in the Celestial Emperor Cave. In these 2 months, he only had a short period of time to heal. The rest of the time was spent traveling through each floor. The deeper he went, the stronger the restrictions became. Even with Wang Lin's restriction knowledge and the map's instructions, it took some time to get past them. What wasted the most time were the palaces at the center of each floor. They were like balls of mysteries that required a lot of effort to find the entrance to the next floor. If that was it, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but after the fourth floor, the map showed many storage spaces as well. Wang Lin was naturally unwilling to let them go, so he checked them out. Most of them had already been opened by others, but there were still a few places not found. Wang Lin moved everything he had found into his bag. Just thinking about his harvest in these 2 months made Wang Lin excited. Even he was shocked greatly by the stuff inside the storage spaces. When it came to things such as celestial jades, Wang Lin had enough to supply a sect for 1,000 years. There were many other things as well. From Wang Lin's point of view, these storage spaces were storage points set up by Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. There was obviously a purpose for all of them. Wang Lin didn't know what purpose Qing Lin had, but the things were now his, which made Wang Lin excited for a few days. What was even more exciting was that according to the Jade, there were 2 transfer arrays to storage spaces on the 6th floor. One of them contained a lot of celestial pills and elixirs from before the celestial realm collapsed. At this moment, those pills and elixirs were more important than any treasure. During these 2 months, Wang Lin still hadn't recovered his full strength. His physical injuries were no longer an issue due to his strong recovery from his ancient god body. The problem was his loss of origin energy and how his origin soul had weakened from using the iron sword. If he had no pills, it would be difficult to recover in a short period of time. Wang Lin was almost out of pills, and adding on the dangers that were everywhere, Wang Lin absolutely had to obtain that storage space full of pills. On this day, there was a flash of light at the edge of the 6th floor. Wang Lin walked out from the light. The place he appeared in was surrounded by pavilions, as if it was its own little garden. There were mountains-sounding area and a river flowing not far away. The sound of the flowing river echoed and was very soothing. This is the 6th floor. Wang Lin took a deep breath and looked around. After quickly matching his location with the map, he immediately knew his current location. Wang Lin's eyes was filled with determination as he charged toward the right. I must obtain those pills. Wang Lin moved very quickly through those restrictions, but soon he stopped and looked straight ahead. There is someone here. Wang Lin had noticed a lot of traces of people as he moved through the 2nd to 5th floors, but he had never encountered anyone. This was the first time he detected someone. It mustn't have been easy for little brother to make it here. A slightly surprised sound. See. This video will end here.